should be dead.
Because you didn't kill me when you were supposed to.
The gunshot echoed through the safe house like thunder. Olamma pressed her back against the cold counter, her chest heaving as Dante Morelli burst through the door, his white shirt stained with blood that wasn't his. The pistol in his hand gleamed under the dim light as he crossed the room in 3 strides. "You should be dead," he growled, pressing her against the wall. His hand found her waist, fingers digging into her flesh through the thin fabric of her dress, while his other hand lifted her chin, forcing her to meet his dark eyes. The scent of gunpowder and expensive cologne overwhelmed her senses. Tell me why I'm risking my life for you, he whispered dangerously, his breath hot against her ear. Olamma's voice trembled, but her spirit remained unbroken. "Because you didn't kill me when you were supposed to." A violent pounding shook the door. His men had found them. "Dante." Olamma's fingers clutched his bloodied shirt. What happens now? His lips were inches from hers when everything went black. "To understand how they got here, allow me to take you back to 3 months ago." The autumn rain pelted the windows of the downtown Manhattan restaurant where Olamma Chizoba balanced a tray of dirty dishes while mentally calculating if her tips would cover this month's rent. At 26, the Nigerian graduate student had mastered the art of surviving New York City on coffee, determination, and 4 hours of sleep. Her architecture textbooks waited in her backpack while she served overpriced pasta to Wall Street types who never looked her in the eye. During her break, she sketched on a napkin a sleek skyscraper with impossible curves that would never exist outside her imagination. Architecture was her dream, but dreams didn't pay Columbia's tuition. "Olamma, you're off," her manager called at 2 a.m. She grabbed her things, exhausted. The subway would take 40 minutes. The alley behind Vesey Street would cut that in half. She'd never taken it before because something about it always felt wrong. But tonight, she was too exhausted to care about being cautious. The narrow passage reeked of garbage and rotten tomatoes. Halfway through, she heard angry voices that made her freeze. "You thought I wouldn't find out, Marcus?" The voice was smooth, controlled, deadly. Olamma ducked behind a dumpster, her heart hammering. Through the gaps, she saw him, Dante Morelli. She recognized him from the news, though the cameras never captured how he commanded space, how the very air seemed to bend around him. 6'3" of tailored suit and calculated violence. Marcus was on his knees, sobbing. "Please, Mr. Morelli, I can explain." "Explanations are for men who deserve second chances." Dante pulled out a gun with practiced ease. "You sold locations of our safe houses. 3 of my men's families are dead because of you. I didn't know they'd..." Dante released a bullet before the man could finish his sentence. The shot was clean, efficient. Marcus crumpled forward. A gasp escaped Olamma's lips before she could stop it. Dante's head snapped toward her hiding spot, his eyes, impossibly dark even in the dim light, locked onto hers through the shadows. Her survival instinct took over immediately, and she ran. "Find her," she heard him command as her feet pounded the wet pavement. "Bring her to me alive. If you're hooked already, hit that like button and subscribe. Because this is just the beginning of an attraction that should be deadly forbidden." Olamma's lungs burned as she burst into her studio apartment, slamming the deadbolt behind her. She pushed her desk against the door, then her bookshelf, creating a barricade that wouldn't stop anyone determined but made her feel less helpless. She reached for her phone to call 911, then stopped. What would she say? That she'd witnessed Dante Morelli, untouchable Mafia prince of New York, execute someone? The NYPD had been trying to pin something on the Morelli family for decades. Either they wouldn't believe her, or worse, they were already in his pocket. Her laptop screen glowed as she booked a 6 a.m. bus to Boston. She'd figure out the rest later. She just needed to survive until dawn. Meanwhile, in a penthouse that overlooked Central Park, Dante studied security footage on multiple screens. His lieutenant, Rocco, stood beside him. The witness was a black girl, boss. Young, had braids. She was wearing a restaurant uniform. Dante rewound the footage, watching her run. There was something about the way she moved. Not just fear, but intelligence. She'd hidden first, observed, waited for an opportunity. Most people would have screamed or frozen. I want her found before sunrise, Dante said, loosening his tie. But nobody touches her. She's mine to handle. Rocco hesitated. Boss, witnesses are usually... Did I stutter? Dante's voice could have frozen hell. If she's smart enough to run properly, she might be useful. Or maybe I'm just curious about a woman brave enough to watch me kill a man and still have the presence of mind to escape. At 5:47 a.m., Olamma zipped her duffel bag, her bus ticket clutched in her hand. 13 minutes until she needed to leave. She'd make it. But as she prepared to leave, the doorknob turned. Her barricade hadn't been touched. The lock hadn't been picked. It simply opened as if he had a key. Dante stepped inside, closing the door behind him with unnerving calm. He wore all black now, moving through her tiny apartment like a shadow given form. Going somewhere, princess?
Going somewhere,
His voice
princess?
was conversational, as if they were old friends. Olamma grabbed a kitchen knife and shook it at him. Stay back. He actually smiled, a dangerous curve of lips that made her stomach flip in ways that had nothing to do with fear. You're really pulling a knife on me? In my city? After watching me kill a man? I can't tell if you're brave or just plain stupid. He moved faster than she expected. One moment she was holding the knife. The next, she was pinned against the wall, his body caging hers. The knife clattered somewhere far away. His hand covered her mouth while the other gripped her waist, holding her still. Listen carefully, he whispered, his lips brushing her ear. She could feel every hard line of his body pressed against hers. You saw something you shouldn't have. That makes you a problem. She bit his palm. He didn't even flinch, just shifted his grip to her throat, not choking, just controlling. Then finish it, she managed to say, her chin raised in defiance despite the tears threatening to fall. Kill me if that's what you want. Something flickered in Dante's eyes. Surprise, maybe even respect. His thumb traced her jawline, and for one insane moment, she thought he might kiss her instead of kill her. You're not what I expected, he murmured. I'm sorry, but this is the only way to keep you safe. Olamma opened her mouth to talk back, but it was immediately covered with a white handkerchief. The last thing she remembered was the scent of his cologne before darkness claimed her. Her consciousness returned slowly. Soft sheets, sunlight through floor-to-ceiling windows, the smell of coffee. Olamma shot upright, finding herself in a bedroom that was bigger than her entire apartment. Modern, minimalist, expensive. Through the windows, she saw only trees. No city, no escape routes. It was as if she'd been dumped in an expensive prison with no hope of escape. She was still observing when the door opened, and Dante entered carrying a tray. He'd changed into dark jeans and a white shirt that did nothing to make him less intimidating. Good morning, princess. Did you sleep well? He asked, smiling at her. You kidnapped me? She grabbed a lamp, ready to throw it. I saved you. He set the tray down, unfazed by her weapon. My men wanted you dead immediately. I convinced them otherwise. How generous. She threw the lamp at his head. He dodged it easily, and she saw the corner of his mouth twitch with amusement. You have a good aim for an architect. She frowned. How do you... Never mind. Let me go. I can't do that. He moved closer, and she backed up until her legs hit the bed. The moment you step outside this house, you're dead. Every family in New York knows there was a witness to Marcus's execution. They're all looking for you. Because of you, Olamma yelled. Dante shook his head. Because you took that shortcut. His hand reached out, and she flinched. But he only tucked a loose braid behind her ear. The gesture was oddly gentle. I'm many things, Olamma, but I'm not wasteful. You're alive because I allow it. Be grateful and quit trying to kill me. It'll be unsuccessful every time. Grateful? She shoved his chest, which was like pushing a wall. You destroyed my life. I saved your life. His hands caught her wrists, pulling her closer. The difference matters. They stood there, breathing hard, faces inches apart. His eyes dropped to her lips, and she hated how her body responded, how heat pooled low in her belly. I hate you, she whispered. Good. He released her and stepped back. Hate is safer than the alternative. Days blurred together in the safe house. They fought constantly, about her captivity, about his life, about the food, about anything. But beneath the arguments was something else. Something that made her skin tingle when he entered a room. She noticed things she shouldn't. How he brought her architecture books without being asked. How his hand would hover near her back when they passed in hallways, never quite touching. How he watched her sketch, genuinely interested in her designs. Why don't you just kill me? She asked one evening, finding him drinking whiskey in his study. He looked up from documents he'd been reviewing. Come here. I'm fine where I am, Olamma said, crossing her arms. It wasn't a request. Dante rasped, his voice low. Olamma found her legs moving without permission. She approached slowly, stopping just out of reach. He stood, closing the distance, backing her against his desk. You want to know why you're alive? His hands braced on either side of her, trapping her. Because every time I look at you, I forget who I am, what I am, and that terrifies me more than any enemy ever could. Her breath caught. Dante, don't. He pulled back sharply. Don't say my name like that. Like what? Olamma asked. Like you don't hate me. Like you feel this too. He downed his whiskey in one burn. You're ruining me, and I can't even bring myself to stop it. She reached for him, but he was already walking away. That night, she heard him on the phone, his voice carrying through the walls. The witness is dead. I handled it personally. Yes, she's buried upstate. No loose ends. Her blood ran cold, then hot with rage. She burst into his room without knocking. You told them I'm dead? Olamma queried. He stood by the window shirtless, moonlight painting his sculpted torso silver. Would you prefer I told them the truth? I prefer honesty. Honesty? He crossed to her in 3 strides. You want honesty? Fine. Every night I think about what you taste like. Every morning I wake up so hard thinking about you in my bed. Every time you look at me with those defiant eyes, I want to pin you against the nearest surface and make you scream my name until you forget why you hate me. Every time you throw things at me, I want to drag you down to my bed and fuck the stubbornness out of you. The air between them crackled. For a moment, Olamma was short of words. His admission left her speechless. And more than speechless, it made her heart race. It made her pulse jump. And it made her body tingle where they shouldn't. She should run. Instead, she moved closer. "Then why don't you?" she whispered. Dante's control snapped. He grabbed her waist, spinning her against the wall. His mouth crashed down on hers, hungry and desperate. She moaned into the kiss, her hands tangling in his hair. Then, just as suddenly, he wrenched himself away, breathing hard. No. He backed up like she was dangerous. "Not like this. Not when you're my prisoner. I'm not your prisoner if you told everyone I'm dead. Aren't you?" His laugh was bitter. "Can you leave? Can you go back to your life?" We both know the answer. Before she could respond, his phone rang. His expression darkened as he listened. "They found the safe house," he said, already moving, grabbing weapons from a hidden panel. "We need to go. Now." Gunfire erupted before they reached the garage. Dante shoved her behind a marble column as windows shattered around them. "Stay down." He returned fire with lethal precision. "Dante!"
Close to me.
She screamed as she saw a gunman flanking him. He spun, taking the man down, but not before a bullet grazed his shoulder. Blood bloomed across his shirt. "We move on 3, he said, barely flinching. "Stay close to me." They ran through smoke and chaos, his hand never leaving hers. The garage door exploded inward just as they reached his car. He shoved her inside, then dove into the driver's seat, peeling out as bullets sparked off the armored panels. She pressed her hands against his shoulder wound as he drove, trying to stop the bleeding. "You're bleeding. You need a hospital." "No hospitals." His jaw clenched. "There's another safe house. 40 minutes. You could bleed out in 40 minutes. Then you better keep pressure on it." His blood was warm on her hands. Too much of it. "Why are you protecting me? Really?" He glanced at her, something raw in his eyes. "Because somewhere between wanting you dead and wanting you moaning under me on my bed, I started giving a damn if you lived. And that's the most dangerous thing I've ever done." The second safe house was smaller, more intimate. She cleaned his wound with shaking hands while he sat shirtless at the kitchen table, drinking whiskey straight from the bottle. "The bullet just grazed you," she said, wrapping the bandage. "You're lucky." "Lucky." He caught her hand, pulling her between his legs. "Is that what we're calling this?" She should pull away. Instead, her fingers traced the other scars on his chest. Old wounds, old stories. "Who did this to you?" "Life." He pulled her closer. "My father believed pain was the best teacher." "That's horrible. That's the family business." His hand spanned her waist. "You should be running from me, not playing nurse. I should be doing a lot of things." Her thumb brushed his lip. "Yet here I am, waiting for you to kiss me again." Olamma. Her name was a warning and a prayer. "If I kiss you now, I won't stop. Not this time." "Then don't stop. If you've gotten to this point, let me know where you're watching from. Comment below if you're feeling the tension, because it's about to explode." Dante's mouth claimed hers with a hunger that had been building for weeks. She melted into him, her hands tangling in his hair as he lifted her onto the table. His lips traced her throat, finding spots that made her gasp. "Tell me to stop," he whispered against her skin. "Never." He pulled back to look at her, his eyes dark with desire and something deeper. "You understand what this means? If you're mine completely. I don't share. I don't let go. I'm not afraid of you, Dante. You should be." But his hands were gentle as they framed her face. "I've killed men for looking at what's mine the wrong way. What do you think I'd do to keep you?" "Everything," she breathed, and kissed him again. A sharp knock interrupted them. Dante was on his feet instantly, gun in hand. "Boss," Rocco's voice came through the door. "We have a situation." Dante opened the door partially. "This better be life or death. Someone leaked that the witness is alive. They know she's with you." Dante's expression turned murderous. "Who?" "We're investigating, but—" "Find them. Bring them to me alive. I want to have a conversation." After Rocco left, Dante turned to find Olamma hugging herself. "They all know?" Olamma asked, fear in her eyes now. "I'll handle it." He pulled her into his arms. "Nobody touches you. Your men will turn on you for protecting me. Let them try." His voice was deadly calm. "I've built this empire on blood and fear. They seem to have forgotten that." That night, unable to sleep, she found him on the balcony, smoking in the darkness. "Those things will kill you," she said. "A lot of things might kill me. At least this one's my choice." He pulled her against his chest, her back to his front. "Can't sleep? Every time I close my eyes, I see Marcus dying. He wasn't innocent, Olamma. He sold information that got 3 families killed. 2 of them had children." She turned in his arms. "Is that supposed to make it better?" "It's supposed to make it real." His hand cupped her face. "This world I live in, it's not black and white. It's all shades of red." "And what shade am I?" "You're the only clean thing I've touched in years." He kissed her forehead. "Which is why you should hate me for staining you." Olamma sighed and glazed at Dante, feeling something new rush into her. "I tried hating you. And it's exhausting hating someone who looks at me like I'm their whole world," she said. "Because you are," Dante replied. The admission seemed to surprise him. "God help me, you are." The next morning, Tommy, Dante's right-hand man, walked into the safe house uninvited, 6 men behind him. "Step aside, boss," Tommy said, gun raised. "The witness dies today." Dante moved Olamma behind him in one fluid motion. "You point a gun at her again, I'll feed you your own tongue." "She's a liability," Tommy said. "The other families know you're protecting her. They think you've gone soft." "Soft?" Dante laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "I killed Marcus with my bare hands last week for asking too many questions. Want to test how soft I am? Boss, be reasonable." "Reasonable." Dante's voice dropped to a whisper, which was somehow worse than yelling. "You come into my home, threaten what's mine, and want reasonable. The family comes first. You taught us that. I taught you loyalty. Apparently, the lesson didn't stick." Tommy made the mistake of shifting his gun toward Olamma. Dante moved faster than lightning, aiming a gun at his shoulder. The gunshot was deafening in the small space. Tommy dropped to the floor, clutching his shoulder. "Anyone else want to question my decisions?" Dante waved his gun as he asked the remaining men. "Silence. Get out. Take him with you. If I see any of you near her again, I'll paint the walls with your blood." After they left, Olamma's legs gave out. Dante caught her, carrying her to the couch. "You shot your own man for me. I'd burn the whole city for you." He kissed her deeply. "That's the problem. They know it now. We can't stay here." "No." He pulled out his phone, making rapid arrangements. "I have a place, off the grid. We leave in an hour." The villa sat on a cliff overlooking the Hudson Valley, isolated and beautiful. For the first time since that night in the alley, Olamma felt like she could breathe. "This place is incredible," she said, taking in the modern architecture. "I bought it years ago, never used it." Dante set down their bags. "I always thought I'd bring someone special here someday." Olamma sighed. And here I am, your captive. He crossed to her, backing her against the window. You haven't been my captive since the moment I told them you were dead. You're here because you choose to be. Am I? Leave then. He stepped back. The door's open. There's a car in the garage. Keys are on the table. She looked at the keys, then at him. You'd let me go? I'd let you do anything except die. His voice was raw. But we both know you're not leaving. Why not? Same reason I can't kill you. Same reason I shot Tommy. Same reason I'm risking everything. He pulled her against him. Because this thing between us? It's beyond reason. She kissed him then, pouring everything she couldn't say into it. He responded with equal fervor, lifting her, carrying her to the bedroom. Make love to me, Dante, Olamma whispered, unbuttoning his shirt. I want you. Are you sure? He asked, setting her down gently. She nodded, her voice breathy. I've never been more sure of anything. Their clothes disappeared in a tangle of desperate need. His hands and mouth worshipped every inch of her skin, making her forget everything but his name. When he finally parted her legs and slid into her, it was with a reverence that brought tears to her eyes. Mine, he whispered against her throat as he slid in and out slowly. Yours, she gasped, arching into him, wrapping her legs around his waist. They moved, together in perfect synchronization, two broken pieces finally becoming whole. She shattered in his arms, his name a prayer on her lips as she came, and he followed her over the edge with a groan that sounded like salvation. After, they lay tangled together, skin cooling in the evening air. What happens now? She asked, tracing patterns on his chest. Now you're mine, and I'm yours. Everything else, we figure out as we go. He moved to kiss Olamma again, but his phone vibrated on the nightstand. He grabbed it, his expression shifting from ecstatic to stone. What is it? Olamma sat up, clutching the sheet. His voice was deadly calm. We have a problem, Princess. They took your sister. What? Her blood turned to ice. Adana? What do you mean they took her? The Torelli family. They grabbed her from her apartment in Newark an hour ago. He was already getting dressed, his movements efficient and lethal. They want to trade. You for her. Then we trade. She reached for her clothes. No. He caught her hands. If you go to them, you're both dead. She's my sister, Dante. And you're... He stopped himself, jaw clenching. I'm what? Everything. The word ripped from him like it physically hurt. You're everything to me, and I won't lose you. Then we save her together. He stared at her for a long moment, then pulled her into a fierce kiss. In saving each other, we're about to start a war neither of us may survive. Then we better make it count. As Dante made calls, assembling his men, Olamma stared out at the darkening sky. 3 months ago, she was just a graduate student with big dreams and empty pockets. Now she was in love with the devil himself, and her sister's life hung in the balance. Ready? Dante asked, now fully armed. One question, she said, checking the gun he'd given her. When this is over, if we survive, then what? Then you're stuck with me forever. He pulled her close. Think you can handle that? I handled you this long, didn't I? That you did. He kissed her once more, hard and possessive. Let's go get your sister and end this. As they drove toward the city, toward danger, toward an uncertain future, Olamma realized the truth. She'd fallen in love with a monster who was supposed to kill her, and she'd do it all over again. The war for their freedom was just beginning. If you made it this far, that means you're invested in this story. Hit subscribe to see how this war ends. Comment below. Team Dante, or are you worried Olamma's lost herself? Will Olamma get to her sister on time? Will Dante be able to stop the trade? And remember, like this video if you want to see what happens. See you in the next video. Until then, I love you all so much.